us to chapter 17. And here we see God giving further proof of his choice of not only Moses, but of Aaron as well in the role of high priest. So from verse 1. And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Speak to the children of Israel and get from them a rod from each father's house. All their leaders, according to their father's houses, 12 rods. Write each man's name on his rod, and you shall write Aaron's name on the rod of Levi. For there shall be one rod for the head of each father's house. Then you shall place them in the tabernacle of meeting before the testimony where I meet with you. And it shall be that the rod of the man whom I choose will blossom. Thus I will rid myself of the complaints of the children of Israel which they make against you. Here we're seeing God telling Moses and Aaron to set up another challenge for the people, for them to see that God's hand of approval is upon Aaron as the leader. Rods are meant to be a symbol of authority. Even in Moses' journey, he has used his rod, when God's asked him to stretch it over the Red Sea or to touch something, and miracles happen. So the rods are very significant in the life of the Israelites. One of the reasons that God is doing this is that those who are murmuring and complaining against Aaron, they will stop. So let's read a little bit more. From verse 8, Now it came to pass on the next day that Moses went into the tabernacle of witness, and behold, the rod of Aaron of the house of Levi had sprouted and put forth buds, had produced blossoms and yielded ripe almonds. And then Moses brought out all the rods from before the Lord to all the children of Israel. And they looked, and each man took his rod. And the Lord said to Moses, Bring Aaron's rod back before the testimony, to be kept as a sign against the rebels, that you may put their complaints away from me, lest they die. Thus did Moses, just as the Lord had commanded him, so he did. So as Moses goes back into the tabernacle the next day, there's only one rod that has budded. And God says for them to keep this sign as a symbol of God's choice of Aaron, also as a warning to other people who may try to challenge Aaron's authority again. And we're moving over into chapter 18, all right? So we're coming towards the ending of this session for this week. In chapter 18, we learn more about the duties of the priests and the support for the priests. So starting at verse 1, Then the Lord said to Aaron, You and your sons and your father's house with you shall bear the iniquity related to the sanctuary, and you and your sons with you shall bear the iniquity associated with your priesthood. Also bring with you your brethren of the tribe of Levi, the tribe of your father, that they may be joined with you and serve you while you and your sons are with you before the tabernacle of witness. They shall attend to your needs and all the needs of the tabernacle, but they shall not come near the articles of the sanctuary and the altar, lest they die. They and you also. They shall be joined with you and attend to the needs of the tabernacle of meeting for all the work of the tabernacle, but an outsider shall not come near you. And you shall attend to the duties of the sanctuary and the duties of the altar, that there may be no more wrath on the children of Israel. Behold, I myself have taken your brethren, the Levites, from among the children of Israel. They are a gift to you, given by the Lord to do the work of the tabernacle of meeting. Therefore you and your sons with you shall attend to your priesthood for everything at the altar and behind the veil, and you shall serve. I give your priesthood to you as a gift for service, but the outsider who comes near shall be put to death. The priesthood is a gift to Aaron and his sons, to help them to be able to do the work of ministry. Now, the responsibility of Aaron and his sons was very high. They were accountable to God, and also, as it says earlier, that they bear the iniquity of the sanctuary. And so in the work that they have to do, the high calling that they have, God has given the entire tribe of Levi to support them. They are not to touch the articles in the tabernacle. They can't go into the Holy of Holies, nothing like that. But they were to serve Aaron and his sons. God is very clear that if they step past their boundaries, they will die. And so we're seeing here their duties and what God requires of them. He also lets them know later in the chapter that the Levites have no inheritance in their land. They do not get a parcel of land when they go into Canaan. Their only inheritance is God. Their portion is God. God ensures that they are cared for. So as you go through this chapter, he lets them know that they are able to take of the offerings, the things that people bring, whether it's the heave offering or Nazarite's consecration offering. The choice portion of the animal is waved before the Lord, but then the priest gets to partake of it. And the other offerings, like the grain offering and the sin offering and the trespass offering, the gifts of the oil and the wine and the grain and the ripe fruit from the first fruits offering, all of those things were given to the priests. Everything that the Israelites would bring to the Lord, the priests would also get to partake of. So God ensures that the priests are taken care of, they're able to eat, their families are taken care of because they don't have land and they don't work anywhere else. God also commanded that the Levites would be supported by the tithes that the Israelites bring to the tabernacle. So in all of this, you're seeing that the Levites are supposed to be able to fully focus on their duties, in particular the house of Aaron as priests and as a high priest. They must be able to fully immerse themselves in the service of the Lord. And as the Lord said, he has given the whole tribe of Levi as a gift to them, so that they will be able to do the work of service. We are at chapter number 19, and here we are learning about the laws of purification. So let me start off with verse number 1. Now the Lord spoke to Moses and Aaron, saying, This is the ordinance of the law which the Lord has commanded, saying, Speak to the children of Israel, that they may bring you a red heifer without blemish, in which there is no defect, and on which a yoke has never come. You shall give it to Eleazar the priest, and he may take it outside the camp, and it shall be slaughtered before him. And Eleazar the priest shall take some of its blood with his finger and sprinkle some of its blood 7 times directly in front of the tabernacle of meeting. Then the heifer shall be burned in his sight. Its hide, its flesh, its blood, and its offal shall be burned. And the priest shall take cedar wood and hyssop and scarlet, and cast them into the midst of the fire, burning the heifer. Then a man who is clean shall gather up the ashes of the heifer, and store them outside the camp in a clean place. And they shall be kept for the congregation of the children of Israel for the water of purification. It is for purifying from sin. A heifer is a cow which has never been pregnant and cannot yet get milk. And so they're supposed to take this animal and sacrifice this animal. So the blood was not drained, it was included in the sacrifice. And when the heifer is being burnt, the priest would also put in cedar wood and hyssop. Cedar wood is resistant to disease and rot, and it's known for its quality and preciousness, and hyssop is used for cleansing. If you read about leprosy, hyssop was used in the ritual for cleansing. So all that plus scarlet, which is red, it signifies the color of blood, that is put into the fire. And all together, there would have been a lot of ash when the fire died down. So the ash was gathered and sprinkled in water, bit by bit, to make water that would be used for purification ceremonies. So there's a special water that is used for when people have to become ceremonially clean. And God uses an example of someone who has come in contact with a dead body, and that makes the person unclean. They would not become clean on their own. They would need to do something, and wash in a specific water with the ashes of the animal and the hyssop and the scarlet. They needed purification, so they cannot ignore their state. They have to do this ceremony, this ritual that the Lord has prescribed. And if they choose not to do it, then there is a consequence for that. They will be cut off from the assembly because they have defiled the sanctuary of the Lord. And that brings us to the ending of chapter 19.